We start in Canada. A judge in Ontario province has ordered protesters to end their blockade of a bridge at the U.S. border. Truckers upset over a COVID vaccine mandate have blocked it since Monday. They prevented vital goods and workers from getting through. And this has prompted Ontario to declare a state of emergency as police prepare for the demonstrations dubbed the Freedom Convoy to expand this weekend. Dan Williams is watching developments from the national capital, Ottawa.
Some 2 weeks since arriving in Ottawa, and the impacts of the truckers' Freedom Convoy protest appear to be deepening. Ontario declared a state of emergency Friday. It comes after demonstrations shut down the Ambassador Bridge, a critical crossing that carries more than a quarter of US-Canada trade. That, in turn, has hit supply chains and led to auto manufacturers idling or reducing production at plants. Blocking key infrastructure under the state of emergency order would be made illegal, punishable by up to a year in prison and fines of up to $80,000 US.
To the protesters, I say, we've heard you, and it's time to go. To the auto workers, truckers, and all those affected by the Ambassador Bridge closure, I say, we will take whatever steps are necessary to ensure the border is reopened.
Also Friday, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau spoke to US President Joe Biden about the blockades that is now also impacting US business. He is promising to end what he called unlawful activity.
Everything is on the table because this unlawful activity has to end, and it will end. Of course, I can't say too much more now as to exactly when or how this ends, because unfortunately we are concerned about violence. So we're taking every precaution to keep people safe. But the absolute safest way for this to end is for everyone to return to your communities now.
Here in Ottawa, there are few signs that this protest is coming to an end anytime soon, and the demonstrators don't appear too concerned by the implications of the province-wide state of emergency.
Those people, they're like us. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere till things are resolved. If Ford could start make up these big fines, all he's doing is showing his true colors. He's in panic mode. This isn't about truckers. This has got nothing to do about money. This is about saving everybody.
It grows every day. Like last night we had over 50 trucks that pulled in Ottawa. They got through. Like I got a couple buddies at the Windsor Bridge right now, and apparently it's just growing by the minute. It's wonderful.
Although there have been some signs of tension, for the most part the protest in Ottawa now has a party-like atmosphere. The question now, with trucks still blocking key roads and infrastructure, is how long it will be allowed to continue. Dan Williams, CGTN, Ottawa.
These Freedom Convoy protests have expanded beyond Canada. Similar demonstrations began on Wednesday in France, from the country's southern cities to Paris. Motorist convoys were also seen in Austria and in the Belgian capital Brussels, with authorities placing bans on the protests. U.S. authorities have warned of the possibility of copycat demonstrations across the country. The Department of Homeland Security reported that there were plans for potential blockades in major metropolitan cities. It said a prolonged trucker convoy could begin on February 13th, targeting this year's football championship game, the Super Bowl in Los Angeles. An Ontario court on Thursday also froze funds donated to anti-vaccine protesters through the app called Give, Send, Go. But the app tweets that Canada has no jurisdiction over the fund flow. Earlier, my colleague Gerald Tan talked to Eric Miller, president of a consultancy firm in Washington, for his take on the sponsors of the protests.
Well, they don't get a mandate to keep going. They are breaking the law. And certainly any reading of the Canadian law suggests that they've well exceeded any legitimacy or authority in terms of political speech. What you're seeing is a lot of these donors, we think, are coming out of the United States, certainly some of the radicalized groups that fund right-wing causes around the world. And so this is something that we are going to have to deal with. And there is a network of groups which seek to fund populists who seek to disrupt the civil order around the world. And this is something that we need to look at. And there's a good reason why many of these groups prefer to use cryptocurrencies, because they're much harder to trace than conventional means.